Hey, what's up? So, this video is about the concept or idea of hurt, of being hurt. And so, and not, not on like a spiritual level or any of that kind of stuff, just as like a purely human experience. Um, and so, it is something that I've been dealing with it recently because I had a run-in with somebody. So, hurt, it happens when you're essentially emotionally invested in a relationship where what you think is going on, you find out isn't necessarily what's going on, and it hurts. Um, and it's challenging to address that because when you become aware that that say things aren't the feelings aren't mutual, that the way that the relationship is approached isn't essentially reciprocated, it's challenging to know what to do because you can't change another person, as much as you might like. You can give them feedback, you can have conversations with them, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think if somebody's sort of maybe taking advantage of the situation and possibly you, I mean, it can be very challenging to to rationalize your standpoint with them. Be like, hey, well, I think you need to be more respectful. You need to be more nice, because it's like, we are kind of where we're at, right? And so, I've been dealing with this because the same thing. I have a relationship with somebody that echoed to me that that it wasn't what I thought was going on, wasn't what was going on, and I got hurt. And it took days to get over, more than a week, for somebody who, it was not a romantic relationship. Somebody that I thought was my friend, and it turned out isn't really. And it was hard because I had to start approaching the situation differently and handling myself differently, because to take care of myself, to watch out for my own mental and emotional well-being, to watch out for this heart of mine, because you got to take care of yourself at the end of the day. And so it was just a funny thing, because it took me an entire week to get over this, more than like a full about 8 days to get over what had happened, because I had thought about it. I made a bunch of videos about it. I talked with people about it. I talked with this person about it. I spent my own time figuring it out, and but despite all of that, it just was a matter of a process of coming to terms with it, and it was like, I remember on like the seventh day, I was still livid because I have to interact with this person, and it's like something's telling me that this, you start to see more and more once you've got the rosy colored glasses off, and you start to see these things more and more that you kind of otherwise overlook because you think it's all good. And so then I certainly went through a period where I got a little more bitter, where I started kind of where I was stewing, and I was on the seventh day, I was still thinking about all the ways of why I hate this person, and how I can't stand this person, and how I just want to do everything in my power to get away from this person as fast as possible and disappear from their life so that they'll never see me again. Because I'm in a frame of mind where I'm hurt. I'm hurt by what happened. I'm hurt by all of this stuff. And it's just like, it was challenging. I know that on a sense, it is this thing that got me to move in the directions that I am. It really helped to propel what I'm doing forward. It gave me some serious motivation and like momentum to pursue really the things that are the most important to me, that I need that push to do. So it's like, it's not a bad thing. I don't look at it like that at all. And but still, like in the heat of it all, it's challenging to navigate it. And then I found on the 8th day, after it was frustrating because 7 days later I'm still livid. But then on the 8th day, I woke up in the morning and I felt a little bit better about it all. And I was like, okay, I've calmed down, I've processed enough, I've come to terms with what happened. I don't need to take too many extreme measures right now. It's enough to just kind of pull back a bit and like handle things in a more professional manner, and to not get too involved once again, because that was very unhealthy and it led to this hurt. And the thing is, so that was great. And then beyond that, things can in a sense, resume, almost like pick up where they left off. Who knows where the other person's at? But you can only take care of yourself. And the idea with forgiveness is a word which, as I've been taught, what it signifies is this idea that I don't need anything outside of myself to be at peace with what happened. And so this is what true forgiveness is. It really has nothing to do with the other person. It is more or less a choice, or like like something that you come to on your own, in your own way, and that is how you handle the situation. You make peace with it, essentially. And so and like there's these other ideas that I'm aware of, like, say for example, the way of the heart. There are only so many ways to describe this thing. It doesn't need a ton of words. It's things like faith and surrender and acceptance, and then there's this one, letting go. And this is what's challenging. It's like in this kind of a scenario, it's like there's a part of me which kind of understands that I have the option to let this go. But then there's another part of me that says, no, I'm not ready to. And honestly, having gone through the entire experience and come out the other side, I don't think that it would have made sense for me to just let it go, even though that's possible, just essentially based on where I'm at. Maybe once I reach enlightenment, it'll be a different story. It'll just be like, you're operating on a bit of a different level. But until then, it was an important part of the process for me to acknowledge the way that I felt and acknowledge what happened, and to rethink how I'm handling myself and what I'm going to do, and even take things to an extreme so that afterwards I could eventually calm down and then lessen off a little bit, but still take the appropriate action to not have a repeat of this kind of a situation. And so, yeah, it's a funny thing being hurt. I can't even say it without coming up, there's a poem that I wrote. It's called Teardrops in the Sand, and just the line in it that is applicable. It's like, it says that anyways, what does it said, this is a poem that I wrote, when I sold my condo, and I had been through so much, and I went to Mexico, and I fell on the sand and just on my knees and cried, because it's just like, I couldn't believe that everything that I was going through in my life happened in the way that it did. And so this poem came through me at that time, and it says, in the second verse, it says, I've been hurt, and yes, I've hurt others as well. And just the thought of it, tears begin to swell, or something like that, right? I mean, it's challenging to remember because there's pressure, because there's literally a timer on me because I'm on camera. But I mean, anyways, and like I tell you, when I got divorced, or when my divorce took place, it took 7 years for me to get over that. That was like, I couldn't even look at another woman or think about another woman, because I was just so hurt that the woman that we said that we would be there for each other through it all walked out on me. I just, it just goes against everything that I believe and I thought and that I believed. So it was really painful experience. Like, I spent 4 years, I think, crying every day. It was a part of my life, and it was really challenging because I'd be at work and it would just come out. I would be in places where it was inappropriate, but when you're hurt, you're hurt, and it takes time to heal. And that's another point too, is, it's something that I kind of experienced this time. It's like, or every time, is that time heals all wounds, essentially, right? But you do have to, I think, that phrase, there's truth to it, but it's like, you have to also make an effort. You have to do honest investigation into it all, and you have to, because you have to handle the situation, not just kind of wait for it to pass and do absolutely nothing. That doesn't really make any sense, as far as I'm concerned. But this thing about poetry, like a lot of good songs and stuff like that, and poetry comes from hurt, from things that have happened to people, and how they've suffered, and how they dealt with it, how they came through it, and what it means to them. And I've been hurt by so many people, and as a result of it, because I was so disturbed by how people seemed to be okay with treating me, that I grew a backbone, and I found inner peace, and I became very comfortable on my own, and just taking care of myself, and not needing like any kind of external forms of validation, or like being needy, like needing to be around people, needing to have friends, needing to be needed. I mean, of course, it's nice to be needed. It's nice to be valued, to just like, to, as if you're important to somebody. It's a beautiful thing. But it's also super nice to not need that, for that not to be a factor which, if it's not present, you will be unhappy, you will feel unneeded, unworthy, and unvalued because you don't have something outside of yourself, which is giving you that kind of feedback. So yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing being hurt, but yeah.